YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we are gonna talk about this deck right here. So far, I've tested the deck out in Diamond and tried to grind myself into a much more reasonable rank for this deck. Surprisingly, this managed to got me into Masters, just spamming this throughout my games. But yeah, I managed to go into Masters 5 just because of this deck. Typically, 15% of that chance or those win rates is mainly because of the super heavies. Once you drop a copy of Motorbike, people will immediately assume that we are running a pure super heavy samurai, so they just scoop immediately. But in case we are going up against another deck, especially labyrinths or stun decks, that was one of the most infuriating games that I had. Labyrinth has a new tech card that manages to gain them more wins just by the use of the 5 rainbow card alone. Runics were also running it, and stun decks were running those one-ofs for the floodgates. Regardless, it's practically very infuriating. After a few games, I stopped and then went back after a while. And then, yeah, it was okay though. The majority of my games were into Labyrinths and Runics. So far, so good. Going first or going second with this deck is kinda okay though. You still have the same end board with the Vanquish Soul, which is pretty good. And with the addition for the Super Heavy Samurais, you can Pendulum Summon and Synchro Summon as well. So that's another monster that you can have to the field, like a Bear on the Floor, or a copy of your Omega, or a copy of your Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. A little bit with the deck, we are running Gammas here. I tried running with the Shifters and one copy of Pluton HG. Now I just removed Pluton HG and the 2 copies of Shifter because these 3 cards were somewhat of a brick from time to time if ever you're grinding the game that long. So it was kind of bad. I don't want to draw into that card or those cards alone. So might as well gonna go for a negate here with a Gamma and a copy of Driver. Now Driver is a typical brick or a typical Garnet, but it is very useful for a time. You can also special summon this if you can Pendulum Summon. So that's pretty good. Now the only downside for this deck is because we're running Super Heavy Samurais, we are also running spell cards for the supports for the Vanquish Soul. Stake Your Soul is a must-needed card for the Vanquish Soul as well, just to get a hold of your Ryzen to the field. And then 1 copy of Reinforcement and a copy of your Dust Devil for a minor protection if you got a copy of your Bad Love to the field. Card by card, Maxi, Gammas, 3 copies of Motorbike, 3 copies of Ash, 1 copy of Rise Heart with the Fenrir, of course, for your engine. The Bishal Drewsworm and the Magnamut are your Bishal engines. Soul Gaia Booster, 3 Ryzens, 1 Pantera, 2 copies of Mad Love, 2 copies of Jiaolong. What else? 2 copies of Heavy Borger, 1 copy of Dogoran, 1 copy of Regulus that can be searched with a copy of Champion Sargus, and 1 copy of Caesar Vilus with the 3 copies of Waikaushi, with the 2 copies of Big Benkai. Extra deck, 1 copy of Mega, 1 copy of Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, 1 copy of Axel, 1 copy of Baron on the Floor. Then the 41 Barguska, Spring and Merrymaker, the Champion Sargas, the Zeus, the 3 copies of the Rock of the Vanquisher. The Nightmare Monsters, the Cerberus, the Phoenix, and the Unicorn are pretty good as well. You can remove the Cerberus for a copy of your Shang Ying. Shang Ying is another level 10 Synchro Monster that you can go into. 1 copy of Donner, and that's basically it. Extra deck, you can mix and match whatever cards you need depending on the games, of course, that you are going up against. So that is your main deck, guys. Let's go towards the replays. Now the typical replays are mostly Labyrinths. Let's go to the replays and I'll see you guys in the outro. Alright guys, so here we are with the replays and we have our first replay against a Labyrinth deck. So we're going first. We go for Stake Your Soul since we don't have any super heavy cards here. So Stake Your Soul is going to be chained with Maxi, which is we can't do anything else but just summon the monster to the field. So go for Jiaolong to the field. Normal summoning our copy of Ryzen, getting a copy of Pluton HG. Now this is the other version or the old version where I still use the 2 copies of Shifter and the 1 copy of Pluton HG. But take note, this is basically Diamond. So we go for the copy of Jiaolong, getting a copy of Caesar Vilus, and then set a copy of Dust Devil since that's our only option there. So during our opponent's turn, he goes for a copy of Stovey Torby, and when he dropped a copy of 5 Rainbow, I got stuck here. So I need to set this card like continuously. So hopefully this would actually benefit me quite a lot. So Pluton HG is going to use its effect, activate that, to have a protection and then summon the Xiaolong to the field, and our guy just activated the 5 rainbow here. So I need a face down card in my spell and trap card zone for this to actually work. So with that, we go for Heavy Burger on the field with a Xiaolong, getting a hold of Pantera so that we can pop the copy of the 5 rainbow. And with that, pop the card there, because I really hate that card, really hate that card. And then as well, summon the Scissor Violets to the field so we can pop 1 card. But before that, our guy is going to summon another monster to the field. That typical, I think Ariana is going to be summoned to the field. And then search out a copy of the Lady Labyrinth, which is kind of insane here. But regardless, it's still good because we can use the Dust Devil here. Flip the 3 cards face down. And that's basically it. So it is a little bit shocking here. But what we can only do here is to remove the Soviet Obris in case he summons that card. During our turn, we draw a card, use the effect of Caesar Valus, pop 1 card in the field. I don't really think we got a really good hit there. But regardless, we get another search, we get another, or we draw another card, and we have Motorbike as an additional search for our Wakaushi, which we just drew into. So not really a big issue there. Normal summon the Wakaushi, go for a copy bar on the floor, and then use the Wakaushi into the penultimate zone. Now we can't use the Wakaushi here because we have a spell card in our graveyard. Needless to say, our only option here is to remove the copy of the back row, which was pretty good. The Daruma Cannon was a really big hit. And then go for attack, destroying the Lady Labyrinth, going for the Ariane, and then going for the Ariana. And that's basically our board there. Go for Xiaolong again, search out another card. Whatever he has on the field, we can still manage. Except for that one. But luckily, the effect of Caesar values that allows it to pop before even activating or before resolving is still pretty good. So that is our first game there, boys and girls. Let's go for game number 2. Alright guys, so here we are with our next game, and we're still going up against Labyrinth. Please bear with me with the replays, but it's mostly like that. All Labyrinth replays here. We got 1 Rysart, 1 Pantera, 1 Mad Love, 1 Heavy Burger, and a copy of Wakaushi here. So, take note, if we have a spell card, we need to, don't use it first because we need to use the effect of Wakaushi. Then if that gets negated, then we use the spell cards. During our turn, we got a copy of Reinforcement, which is kind of good. So, the one is the Big Welcome in the middle, and then this is Welcome Labyrinth, and then he got a copy of the Daruma Cannon. So, that's practically it. So, there we go. Welcome Labyrinth to the field. Pantera is going to be spell summon, normal summoning the Bad Love. And then spell summoning the Heavy Burger after using its effect, so that we can draw 1 more card. There we go, and Mad Love gaining access to a copy of, or Mad Love gaining access to our Dust Devil here. Go for the effect of Heavy Burger to draw 1 more card, and our guy will use the effect of Big Welcome, which is okay, kinda okay. And then with that, we drew into a copy of Ryzen, so we don't need to use the Reinforcement. Therefore, we can still use the effect of Wakaushi. And with that, popping 1 card on my hand. Luckily, the card that was popped was just Mad Love. Not really a big issue. Go for the effect of Wakaushi, getting a copy of Big Bankai, and then spell summoning to the field to go into a Synchro Summon into Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. And then with that, Wakaushi is going to be on the field from the Extra Master Zone so that we can Pendulum Summon into a Ryzen and a copy of Rysart. Not really the best of choice, but this is one of my misplays because I should have saved those cards rather than just attacking. But regardless, we managed to pull it off because we set our guy into a 500 life points. So, that's still pretty good. Now, all we need is just the burn. So we can go for the Rock of Vanquisher, gaining access to our Earth Monster because Heavy Burger needs Earth and Fire to burn his life points. He's gonna use the effect of Lady Labyrinth. I want to trigger the effect of Draco. But yeah, he already got a copy of Shedriggler on hand. We can't do anything about it. There we go. He's gonna use the effect of the Daruma Cannon here to flip everything face down. And then summon a couple of monsters here, basically. Use the effect of Welcome Labyrinth, spell summoning the Lady Labyrinth. And that is basically his choice right there. Hitting that. And then we still have a 2,100 defense, which is kind of okay though. And then gaining access to Welcome Labyrinth again. setting on the field, and the Shang Draglier will be set back or bounced back to the hand. And then gaining access to the big welcome. But all we need is just the burn. That's basically my goal here. So he's gonna go for an effect for the big welcome and then Lady Labyrinth. Gaining access to D barrier. Now D barrier isn't a really big issue here because if ever he stops the synchro summon, we can just link summon. So that's still pretty good. For some reason, this guy used the effect of Lovely Labyrinth to pop the big Bankai, which is not really a big issue because as long as we don't have spell and trap cards in our graveyard, we're good. We are good. So he's gonna go for Welcome Labyrinth, gaining access to Ariana, and then going for a copy of Kuklok here. So Kuklok, use it. It's not really a big issue here. Go for Wakaushi, getting a copy of Big Bankai using the effect of Soul Gaia Booster, gaining access to a level 4 to the field. And he did not stop this at all for some reason there. So go for Sight from Lord Omega, and Wakaushi back to the field. And my only choice here is going for Reinforcement for a last Pendulum Summon. There we go. And since we only have we need the Dark Master, or the Fire Master I mean, we can just do that. Pop the Lovely Labyrinth, and then go for a copy of Rack of Vanquisher, gaining access to a Fire Monster, and then use the effect of Heavy Burger to spell summon it to the field. And that's basically it. A burn, and then we ended the game here. So that's our second game. Let's go for the third game. Alright guys, so here we are with our last game. Now this is played in Masters typically, so less of a hassle. I forgot to change the Phoenix to a Sheng Ying. Now I have some second thoughts with that one, but I just go with the copy of Phoenix because for some reason most of my games here are Labyrinth, Runex, and Stun decks. It's outstanding that it's that matchup against this type of deck. But regardless, we're going first. Go for a Motorbike first before going to Horizon. Then go for a copy of Wakaushi, getting a copy of Big Bankai. Use the effect of Soul Gaia Booster, spell summon the Gaia Booster to the field. Going for the Axel Synchron. The typical play, spell summon the level 2 tuner from the graveyard. And use the effect of Wakaushi to put it back in our Pendulum Zone. So with that, level 8 and level 2s, we go for a Baron the Floor to the field. And then we go for our Ryzen. So Ryzen will search a copy of Zhao Long. Use the effect of Ryzen to reveal. Zhao Long will spell summon itself. Go for the Rock. And then get a hold of a copy of our Ryzen here. And then use the effect of Zhao Long for an additional search. So that's pretty good. We have already an Earth. We have a Dark and 2 Fire Monsters. So during his draw phase, we go a copy of Pantera, so we'll complete everything else, like the Pokemons, and we got Spear Mode. So that's one problematic thing here, which was not half bad because he just skipped his turn after this one. Those 3 back rows are kind of scary though, but regardless, it's perfectly fine. As long as he targets my monster, we can just bounce it with a copy of Burger, which he did, basically. So there we go, going for punishment onto my summon or use the effect of Ryzen. Luckily the Burger will disjoint it and then he'll chain with a copy of Lady Labyrinth. We chain with our Maxi of course, and then we got an additional draw from it. So it was pretty good. So Burger going for burn. Doesn't matter if I draw here because we already got Maxi dumped, so might as well gonna go for the burn, which will help us quite a lot. And then bounce it back again for a Caesar Valus. Go for Ariana, popping 1 card. I think the back row is my main target here because we need to remove Lady Labyrinth here. Daruma Cannon was a big thing. There we go. And go for Stake Your Soul since majority of the time we can't do anything else about the cards. We can't remove everything in our Pendulum Zone, so might as well gonna use them as a Pendulum Scale typically. So go for that. Go for Merrymaker and go for Sargas. Now typically Sargas can search out a copy of Therion, King Regulus, so that's a really good card. Go for Regulus to the field, so if he dumps a copy of 1 card from his hand we can just negate it. So that's pretty good. Attack into the Lady Labyrinth and attack into the Ariana. Going for an 800. Now, this is one of the reasons why I needed the level 10 Synchro Monster, because this comes out from time to time. But yeah, like I said, Phoenix is much better. But if you have a copy of Shiny, it's up to you. And set one card, and that's basically my turn here. So I'm not really like in a big issue with the Spear mode. We can just remove it with a copy of whatever card here. But there we go. Our guy is going to use the effect of Chandelier, dumping a copy of Rihanna. We just use the effect of Regulus, and then use the effect of Caesar Vallis to pop the back row. And that's basically our game there, guys. So, what are your thoughts on this deck? It is kinda interesting, but yeah, I had fun with the deck. Basically, that is our main goal with the deck. But yeah, in a couple of days, we will talk about, or we'll showcase the Infernoble ones and the Geoblister archetype. So, keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, boys and girls, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!